Friends, I have a super fun project. I am about ready to do seasonal color for one of my very first container clients of every single fall season. And this is a sorority at the University of Washington. I'm not allowed to say who it is, but it was really fun. And how I love to start their consultation is, what are they hoping to achieve? What's the look that they're going for? Because they'll have different parties, different events. So as we started the consultation, we were talking about kind of what we hope to achieve for this client. And for the front of the house, we're going pinks, whites, and it immediately is like that viral TikTok that's like, we're demure, we're very mindful, we're very delicate. So anyways, we're going very demure, very mindful, very elegant. And we are going to kick it off by picking up some of these gorgeous echinaceas. So this, my friends, is one of the first selections for that fall front border, because I don't want it to just look good now. I want it to extend all the way through till that first frost hits the ground. Pretty Parasols is coming with me. All right, my friends, we are in the heart of pansy and viola land, going with our theme of just beautiful pink tones. The girls for one of the days on the event calendar are going to be wearing various shades of pink. And so this is a variety. It is called the Delta Pro Rose Tones. And it just has this gorgeous antique-y mix of blooms, and I love it. Nothing super uniform. I love how kind of blousy and feminine this whole thing looks. And to pop it a little bit, I'm actually going to bring in a couple of pops of senecio, because it has just great texture, super silvery, lovely. And then I think I'm also going to bring in some white violas. Now, pansies are going to be more blousy. They're going to be more low-lying. The petals are super duper floppy. Our violas, on contrast, are a great pairing for this because they're more upright. They're a little bit more perky. They have a smaller head on the flower, and the petals, therefore, are less floppy. I'm going to take you down, and I'll show you what I'm bringing in, too. Friends, I'm going to pick up probably a couple flats of this white. It's just a beautiful, bright staple. Now, one of the things to consider is, you'll notice I am not utilizing this little cutie. This is also a viola. It's rose blotch. However, I am not going to use this because this color is far too uniform. I feel like we need the depth and dimension and kind of variation in tones that pansy offers. Yet when you punch it with something like a bright white, it essentially brings in another element that doesn't even compete. And so they really complement each other beautifully. So this is a key trick. I will typically go more intricate with my pansy, and I will go more kind of staple with my viola. So friends, occasionally at this house, I will also do little enhancement projects. In fact, we are gearing up to do a spring enhancement at this property as well. It is like the most lovely vintage brick house. It is gorgeous. But one thing we've been playing with is there's kind of a troublesome area at the bottom of the brick retaining wall that I'll show you tomorrow. So we've played with a couple of different things. I've played with pachysandra down there, which is I love. It's evergreen. We used silver edge, but it's simply not filling in. So I tested a little patch of liriope. This is liriope. It's silvery sunproof. What I love about it is it's durable, it's evergreen, it kicks off a little bloom, which really goes with the kind of soft color palette that we've established for the house. So think lots of blue hydrangeas and dusty pinks and a little bit of lilac. So I'm going to pick up 2 more flats of this because we are going to start extending slowly but surely the liriope down the rest of the brick retaining wall. Friends, from here on out, we are in voiceover territory. So the house director for this sorority has just all sorts of maintenance crews here getting ready for all of the women to move back into the house. So because of all that noise, I mean, we are talking carpet cleaners, maintenance crews, the landscaping team arrived. I mean, because of all of that noise, we are just hitting it up with a nice little voiceover. So first things first, I'm de-tagging all of my product at the van. It's just nice and clean. I'm not leaving tags anywhere. And from there, I moved to the front of the home
What we're doing is I'm actually amending this front bed with a couple different things. Compost, because we are in a garden bed, of course, always. And then also I am pulling in some Biotone starter fertilizer. It's what I had in the truck. I love Biotone products. You'll also see me use sometimes EB Stone products. For me, getting these plants off to the best start possible is always a first priority. So you'll always see me amend before I go in and plant. The next thing I'm doing is I lay everything out to make sure I have my counts correct. And then I move through just from one end to the other, planting all of these gorgeous pansies into the ground. I am so thrilled with the antique rose tones that we're bringing in because it absolutely highlights these gorgeous aging hydrangea blooms that you see right above my head here. And so the front of this boxwood hedge is just smothered in gorgeous, welcoming color. One other note here as I'm speeding through is these little pansies and violas, they are not root bound. This is the first crop that is coming out of the nursery, and so I am not even bothering to break up any roots because there are no roots to be broken up. They are just ready to go in the ground. Next order of business are these two areas that were kind of on either side of this little arborvitae hedge that was flanking either side of the entry. The grasses here were not performing. I wanted a beautiful pop of color. And so this, my friends, is where we are bringing in those gorgeous echinacea. Now, this is Recruitment, and so it's a big deal. I want lots of soft color out there. And so what I've done is I've simply purchased 2 of these echinacea pretty parasols, and I am literally planting them side by side. Now, even though this was actually quite a toasty day for my installation after all this cool weather, which is so funny to me, I did want to bring in that hint of fall. And so this is actually a kale. This is a kale called Peacock White, I believe. And I have just purchased a few of them. Now, kales are notoriously root bound in the pot. And so you see me just straight rip it off the bottom. But I wanted just a little trio, softening the base of this echinacea and providing a little bit more volume. And one thing that you'll also notice is there's a little bit of white that runs right down the leaf of the kale. This is just another way that we're bringing that little pop of white to accent these gorgeous antique pink tones. I did have a couple extra pansies, and so just popped them in. Super duper simple, but a beautiful welcome to this entry. Next up, we are replacing the compact blue Italian cypresses that were planted in this location. Now, sadly, they got taken out, maybe in last spring. Someone actually destroyed them, which is really hard. I mean, this is part of life on a college campus, so I'm not super surprised, but they did create this beautiful statement right at that sweeping staircase, so replacements were necessary. From there, I moved on to filling this extra little pocket here down at the bottom. I wanted kind of a little bit more of a punctuation right at this corner, and so I am bringing in this anemone that you probably saw in my fall interest video. This one is Lucky Charm. It is pink. It can handle the morning sun that this receives, and by the way, it's just morning sun. As soon as that sun gets overhead, it immediately dives into shade for the rest of the day, so think like noon onward, so really just a little bit in the morning. I've ended it by popping a couple violas and pansies right here at the bottom. Perfect little touch, nothing over the top, just the right thing. We're moving around back this time, and this is the back patio. They call it the beach, and this gets actually super blasted, and also with this brick, it really needs some heat. So I am switching over the centerpiece to a little cedar, this little deodar cedar, and it is gorgeous and very graceful in its habit. I'm also bringing in a few other things. You've got this carnival blast heuchera, which is really lovely. I also am playing with a carex everio, and as you can see, I'm kind of going through okay, where do I want this? Where do I want my bright pops? And what I decided upon after looking at this is I'm going to 86 the Acorus. It was looking cute in here, but we're on to bigger and better things. We're trying things new. The other thing I'm bringing into the background here is this is my tricolor Hebe. I just felt like it needed a little bit more volume, a little bit more texture. And the whole goal with this container is I want it to be really, really self-run. I want it to look beautiful now, and I want it to last all throughout the winter. And most importantly, I want my house director to not have to worry about a pot that has very high water needs. After putting all these things, I realized I needed a little bit of extra drape, just a little extra yummy bit. And so I'm bringing in some vinca. This is a white vinca, and that's just going to trail down the fall, and they'll see that color probably next year. There were two other little pots on the patio. They're just simple plastic pots, and they just need a pop of texture, just a little extra something. So this one, I threw in a cordyline design-a-line. I'm also putting in a little heuchera. This is one called Obsidian. And then I'm also bringing in a little grass on grass action. This is another carex everio. I want to tie all of my containers together so they kind of sing the same song. The other thing I'm doing is I'm putting in that Ceanothus Diamond Heights for a bit of a drapey element. Last but not least, in all of these pots, we're going with a slightly different color tone. The house's colors are blue as well as white, and so I'm bringing in this penny blue viola. It's just this cute little pop to nod to their house colors and make it a little bit different than the front entry. This last pot is tucked away in the corner. It's just a nice little moment on top of a brick wall. And so keeping it really simple, repeating elements. Again, I don't want to bring anything too fussy or fancy to the house. I want it easy to maintain, and I want it to look good for months and months. Once all of that was complete, I actually turned my attention to this little area here. It was kind of like a know-nothing zone, and it needed just a little something. Apparently, they like to take pictures on these brick stairs. And so I thought, okay, I need at least something here so it doesn't look like a bare patch of earth. So I came in with a couple, just a little trio of this obsidian heuchera and repeating the colors that were in the containers on the patio just above. So white violas, penny blue violas. I'm playing here to figure out how I want this color to be presented. I've decided I want to kind of hopscotch it around, but keeping it very simple, very low maintenance, just a little pop of color to bring the eye down and to make this whole space feel cohesive. Now, you didn't see this miscanthus morning light go in, but we had a hydrangea here that just simply was not happy and we needed some immediate impact. So what I did is I brought in a trio of miscanthus morning light. Again, we've got that little creamy white center. It adds beautiful volume. It adds beautiful texture. Honestly, nothing fancy, just the perfect right thing to brighten this corner and make it feel super intentional. Friends, I almost forgot, right down there at the bottom of the brick wall, you can see I have added that liriope. I just extended it an additional 8 feet on either side of this kind of arched staircase going up to the main steps, and I feel like it adds the perfect texture and movement up against this brick hardscape. I feel like that tension is so important in a landscape. Friends, thank you so much for coming along on another garden adventure with me. It is such a joy getting this house full of wonderfully kind, lovely, respectful, just delightful women ready for their recruitment. I am wishing them the best of luck, and as always, go out there and say hello to your garden for me. I'm going to see you in the next one. Bye now.